We've been united by divisive events. We must use this moment to continue to make progress. Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. Show Racism the Red Card's annual Wear Red Day will be taking place on the 22nd of October. Wear Red and raise money to fund anti-racism education across the UK. Together, we can make a difference. Text RED to 70470 to donate £1 and visit theredcard.org for more information.
Change hearts, change minds, change lives.
Hi, I'm Shaka Hislop, Honorary President of Show Racism the Red Card. I'm delighted to be joined today by Colchester goalkeeper Shamal George for our continuing series of 25 podcasts marking our 25th anniversary.
This is 25 for 25, a Show Racism the Red Card podcast. Make sure you subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify and YouTube.
I'll jump straight into it, Shamal. First of all, thank you very much for joining me today. I know how difficult schedules are. I know how many demands you must have of your time. Thank you for taking or putting some aside to speak with me today. I really do appreciate it.
No, thank you. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. And let's just jump right into it. You know, your name hit the headlines this month for a lot of wrong reasons. But yeah. Let's go back a little bit. You joined Colchester just over a year ago. How have things been since you joined the club? Because you joined Colchester in the middle of a pandemic, in the middle of the rise of the Black Lives Matter movement and everything that went on. While, let me say off the top, I think Colchester have done an incredible job in how they've supported that call for equality by their players. That's me looking in from the outside. How have you found it?
Obviously, coming in was difficult. So I was at Liverpool for 13 years, and then obviously the pandemic and all that stuff happened. So it was hard to find a club. Obviously, we had some interest from a few different clubs, but nothing solid. So then obviously Colchester came along, and I was very interested in it. But I knew I wasn't going to be number one straight away. So I was willing to work for my spot. And obviously through the year, the number one, who was Dean Gerken at the time, has got injured or whatever. So I've got my opportunity and took it. So I've done well. And obviously came back again this season. He's been injured again. So I've had an opportunity to be number one, and I'm doing well. So I'm very happy being here, and I'm happy with the fans, happy with where I live and stuff. So it's I love it at the minute.
So how have you found the experience, both on the field and off it, where, you know, as players we have so much off time, and a lot of our successes kind of comes to how we manage that. How have you been able to manage that? How have you found it?
Well, obviously I'm not living with my family anymore, so I'm not near my friends or family, so I'm away from distractions, which is a good thing, so I can focus on my football fully. Obviously I've got my fiance as well, who lives with me, so everything's good. I've got someone that supports me there next to me 24/7, so it's not like I've got no one. We've got a gym that's not far away, so on my off days, even though there's not a lot to do around here, I'll go gym or whatever, go swimming to you know, keep my body ticking when we get days off. So no, all in all, I'm really happy where I live and stuff, because I can just fully focus on what I want. So, and that's ultimately to be at the top. So yeah, I'm just working towards it.
Excellent. I'll talk about that support structure around you. You mentioned your fiance, but of course, as I mentioned, your name hit the headlines back in September 11th, playing away to Barrow. You were racially abused by some fans at the stadium. Just talk me through that day. Talk me through the build up to the game, the incident, your response?
So obviously on the day we travelled, which was obviously a long journey of something like 7.5 hours. So that happened, and then we went out to warm up, and there was a few people behind the goal straight away getting on to me, giving me abuse, which is normal anyway, so I'm used to it.
Just general, or was
just
it
general abuse,
racially
swearing, saying, "Oh, you're rubbish," all this stuff,
Right, of course.
But then just the normal stuff that everyone gets.
That's normal. Yeah, every day, every ground. Yeah,
yeah, nothing new to me. So no, I got through the warm up. Everything was fine. Then obviously the game went on, and I started hearing, just a bit more stronger abuse than what I'm used to. It's still it's not racism. Still just stronger abuse. So I ignored it. It's fine. Don't really care because I'm concentrating on the game. And then obviously I heard the comment, which is not acceptable, and it took me back a bit. So I turned around, and it's just at first I seen kids at the front that were giving me hand gestures, which it's fine. I don't really care.
Again, that's normal. Yeah. Sadly, but normal, it is, yeah.
Yeah, but then obviously the racist mark came, which I didn't know how to deal with, because obviously it's never happened to me before. So I ignored it at first because I just didn't know what to do at the time. And then obviously it started happening again, it came from a few more people because it sounded like different voices. So I had a goal kick at the time. And I just called my captain over and said, I'm getting some racial abuse behind the goalie. It's like, I don't know what to do. And he said, I'm going to tell the ref. And at first I said to him, don't tell him. There's no point. And then he said, no, I'm going to tell him. So he told the ref, got announced on the speakers in the stadium, and we went on to win. So that's more important to me more than anything. Because if we lost that game, I think it would have been 10 times worse.
It would have been harder to deal with. But what's your captain's name, by the way?
Tommy Smith.
Okay, and let me ask, white or black?
Sorry?
White or black?
He's white.
And I think that speaks to the value of, again, that support structure that we have around us advocates for racial equality. And credit to Tommy Smith. I truly sympathize with the position you found yourself in. Representing a club, wanting to win a game. That's how we're dialed in. But equally so, your captain, Tommy Smith, and how he took responsibility for next steps, I think also needs to be credited. He needs to be given the plaudits that action deserves. How does that? What was the reaction? And what was the reaction of the rest of the team? Credit to Tommy Smith, but how did the rest of the teammates react in recognizing what was happening or what was about to happen?
So our other centre half came over to me and asked what had happened. His name's Chamber. So he came over and said what happened, and I told him what someone had said to me. And he started giving a bit of stick to the crowd because he wasn't happy about it. So he sort of said, "Tell him to shut up, whatever, or don't say that and whatever." But it is what it is. And then at half time, obviously, some of the team didn't know what happened, so they had asked me. And obviously, the black players, me, Brendan, Frank Nouvel, we were like almost used to it. We're like, "Oh, just ignore it. It is what it is. Like, it's going to happen." So then after the game, obviously, we scored last few minutes or whatever, and if you see the celebration, Frank Nouvel goes in front of their fans and starts celebrating, which I love that video. So it was good to get one back on him in a way, but that's one way to rub it in, I guess. But yeah, he done me a favor there because I couldn't come up and celebrate, so he done it for me.
I totally understand, but you say something there. For your black teammates, the reaction almost was, it is what it is. This is what we have to deal with. Is that something you found in the game, that black players kind of resign themselves to having to deal with racist abuse?
I think it is, yeah. You watch the national teams, you see Raheem Sterling getting, monkey chance the other week. He doesn't pay attention to it because I think, he he's almost used to it, which is in this day and age, it's almost like it's coming more apparent for some reason. I don't know why. So it is upsetting. You know, after the game, I was more upset after the game than I was during the game. I think that's purely because of the reaction they got, because of how many people were, you know, on my side and stuff. It was almost like a bit emotional, and then obviously your message and stuff was a bit emotional, because obviously I said it to my family, and they was, you know, big shock because of your name, and you're obviously a big person to people like us. So no, it was a good reaction, and you know, it was hard to hold myself together at one point, but it is what it is, and you know, we move on.
Flattery will get you everywhere, Shamal. Thank you very much saying that. But it was probably the first and highest profile incident since Euro final. And you touched on Raheem Sterling, but following the penalty shootout where Marcus Rashford, Bukayo Saka, Jadon Sancho missed, and the response of the England fans then, this was the first incident that really hit the back pages. That kind of culture of support that you got from Tommy Smith, from your other teammates, Chamber, the same centre half that you mentioned. As I said off the top, Colchester have done a good job in promoting that culture of togetherness, of us being advocates for each other. Do you think that is something that the club have played a big role in how people see their own roles and responses to each other?
I think so, yeah. So obviously before the game, every single game we take the knee. No matter where we are, you know, we take the knee. We're big on respect in the club. Obviously we got quite a lot more pros in there now, with, you know, Scusi coming in, and Chamber, and obviously Freddie Sears, Alan Judge. So the team is a lot more experienced, a lot more mature. So it's very respectable, and you know, they support every single player in every aspect. So I think as a club as well, after it happened, you know, they weren't happy about, you know, getting calls and stuff, and how do you want to deal with it or whatever. You know, every few days. So they were strong on it. And obviously my reaction was, you know, if you find the person, you find them. If not, then it's fine. Don't worry about it. It is what it is. But they were determined to find who it was, and I got a call the other day that they got one person who was a 14-year-old boy, which is even, you know, that upsets me more than a guy saying it, a man saying. Because I think that's obviously tough, or he's seen that from the wrong people. He's been around the wrong people, maybe, I don't know. So my reaction was, you know, give him a scare, but don't do anything too bad, because, you know, he's a kid. So hopefully he learns from this. Hopefully he gets, you know, what's coming to him. But I just hope he learns, and, you know, he can see right, because him seeing, you know, a black person as something else is just crazy. You know, it's crazy to me. I don't know. But
building on the previous answer there, Shamal, you talk about Colchester and the team continuing to take the knee. We've seen more players stop taking the knee. Wilfred Zaha started last season. Recently, we've had Marcus Alonso, Ivan Toney, all standing for that moment. What's your position on it?
Well, me and Brendan Weirdo were talking the other day, and we actually, you know, like, thought deeper about it. Why are we kneeling to these people? You know, we should be standing up strong and have our hand in the air that way. You know what I mean? So we had to talk about that, and I said, if you want to, I will stand with you, and it can be me and you standing up in the team if that's what you want. So we're gonna see about that. You know, we've had to talk about it, but I agree with what he's saying. I don't think we should be kneeling down to these, you know, these people that are giving racial abuse and don't believe in Black Lives Matter or whatever. And, you know, you get people that boo every week, which is, you know, disrespectful. You know, you see in the game the other day, Lewandowski putting to respect and stuff when people are booing the knees. It's not right. So, you know, my take on it is, I don't think we should be kneeling to people, but I understand why. But I don't think we should. I think we should stand strong and stand up.
has the action of taking the knee kind of inflamed the racists? Has it made things better or worse in your mind?
I don't think it's done either. I just think it's. I think obviously when people are taking the knee, you get booze or whatever. I don't think it's made it any worse than what it was. They're just almost making their point even more valid by booing. Which obviously that means that they don't respect, or they don't. I don't know. They just don't agree with it. Which
let me put it this way then, Shamal. There's been a lot of discussion around this. Is racism in the game better or worse than it was 10, 20 years ago?
No, it's
you
no
don't think
different.
it's that? You don't think there's any difference to it?
That I can't exactly say. 40 years ago it was worse because I wasn't born. So
right.
But in my opinion of what I've heard and experienced from obviously my dad and stuff, and he was a big supporter of Liverpool. So there's black players. One of my cousins played for Chelsea. I think he was the first black player for Chelsea. I couldn't tell you his name. I got to know his name, but yeah, obviously he got a lot of abuse.
Paul
playing there. So that's it. Yeah. That's his name. Yeah, one of my family. So I don't think, in my opinion, I don't think it's got any better. I don't think it's going to get any better. That's just my opinion.
For what it's worth, I think things have improved, but I think what you're seeing, what you personally experienced, has shown how far we still have to go. That for me, that for me has been one of the defining kind of aspects around my own career, around show racism, the red card, and even as we celebrate our 25th anniversary, which we are very proud of the work we've done. The question we continually get asked is, will there still be a need for show racism, the red card in 25 years? And my answer to that is, I sincerely hope not, but I truly believe that we have a long way to go in addressing these issues. It would be great. It would be great if in 25 years, all of us were out of a job, so to speak. But I think racism as it exists today has been generations, centuries in the making, and it will be generations and probably centuries in the fixing. But that shouldn't put us off from what we're due or what we're tasked to do in this moment. Now, the question for me is, you've spoken about Colchester, and we've discussed them as a club and how they continue to represent who they are, that call for equality, and leading from the front. What can football authorities do in the wider context, given the example that Colchester has set? We've discussed the Euro final. We saw the reaction of hungry fans immediately after when England went to play there. We've also heard Gareth Southgate say something that, while very critical of Hungary, their fans, their response, we also have to look at ourselves and figure out how we address those issues within England, within our own game. What can those authorities at higher levels of the game do in moving these issues forward?
Well, you hear about banning fans and stuff from the stadiums, which you can do, but will it make much difference? I don't know. But it's never one person. It's always a group, or there's a lot of people that are already racist. In terms of the club, you get people that say, "Oh, you should walk off the pitch," which I don't believe in. I got asked the other day in another interview if I thought about walking off the pitch, and that was never ever didn't cross my mind once. I don't think I should let them win. That would upset me if I watched that back and I ended up doing that, walking off. I don't think that would be the right move, because ultimately then I think they won by getting into my head. So in terms of what you can do moving forward, I'd have to disagree with what people say, stadium bans and stuff, but that's the most that's going to happen. I don't think a lot of people get arrested for things like this. So it's never, like I said, it's never one person. You can't single every single person out that's doing it. And
is education a part of the solution? And if so, how can we position that?
I think education is massive, obviously with kids as well. Like I said before, I had a kid that was racist to me, so I think obviously he's been educated well in that subject, which is obviously racism and how our ancestors and whatever got treated. So education is a massive, I think. So I think that's what he clearly hadn't had the history or the mindset of what he needs, and hopefully he gets that and he grows up to respect every single person, color, country. It doesn't matter.
I think obviously my bias to education comes from our work with Show Racism the Red Card, where we proudly boast we're the largest anti-racism educational charity in the United Kingdom. We continue to call for education to be a part of those solutions. Stadium bans and fines don't address the issue. Don't address the root causes of the issue. Some form of education for that fan base has to be included, implemented if we are to see meaningful change, and that leads into the one perpetrator that they've found so far with your incident, a 14-year-old. How can we get to that fan base at an earlier stage so that they can recognize the damage that they're doing, that they can recognize the history of their language and how that language has, and I don't say this lightly, has cost lives and continues to impact people of color in so many different ways. I'm going to start to come to a close here, and it's something you mentioned off the top that I don't think we give enough credit to, and I understand the role that my own fiance, my own wife, played in not just my professional career, but my ability to apply my trade as a Black man in this game, albeit some 25 years ago. You talk about your fiance, your support. What does that mean to you to have them by your side in this moment?
Do you mean in terms of when the racist attack started?
Yeah, how important is it to have those people alongside you?
I think obviously it's massive. Obviously, when the night I came back from the game, I was visibly, a bit down, and to have someone there that can pick me up and make me feel comfortable again, because obviously I felt a bit uncomfortable for a while. So to go back into a comfort zone almost with someone that you're with every day and supports you every day is massive for me. Obviously, I haven't got my mum and stuff there, so she came to the game, but she obviously had to go home, so it was a bit upsetting for her that she had to just leave me. It wasn't nice for her to see. She's a white woman, so it's not nice for her to be in the crowd and be witnessing that, I'm sure. But obviously having my fiance here and having her support every day, she's moved from the other side of the country to come be with me and stuff. So it's massive to have her behind me, and I love her to bits. So she's a big support in my.
I absolutely credit to her. I just feel when people talk about the impact that racism has on individuals and on players, I think so often our support, our loved ones are overlooked because they want to be able to do so much more yet can't. We play in a game that we love and being abused for it, and they don't have that outlet, and it can be doubly frustrating for them. So I just wanted for both of us to take that moment to give credit to those people who sometimes go unseen but are just as impacted by these actions that we are. So thank you to her, thank you to all those around all of us who've allowed us to continue to play, allowed us to work our way through these incidents and these traumas in the way that they have. Shamal, you talk about the perpetrator at Barrow being a 14-year-old boy. Given the work that we do with Show Racism the Red Card in schools, if you were to have a conversation with that one perpetrator or him and his friends, what would you say?
I would ask him why, and what's his mindset. Why does he think it's okay to say these things, and where did he learn that it's okay, or to go to a football game, a League Two football game, you pay £20 on the door to abuse someone. I'd want to ask him, why. That's my only question, why, and what I can do to help. Because obviously it's a kid, so I would want to help him. If it was, a man, I would have no respect for him. But it's a kid, so I'd want to help and change his mindset. So I'd ask him why, then I'd ask him how I can help, and I'd actually support him. So that's how I go about it.
I love that answer, because I feel it's the core of what we do at this organization, going into schools, speaking to kids exactly like this about these incidents. Shamal, thank you for your time. Thank you for allowing me to have a small walk down memory lane myself, reminding me of my own days in between these sticks. As good as it was to share this space at this time with you, I wish it was something more positive that was the spark. But I'm confident that a lot of good will come from our conversations, from your reaction to racist abuse, to your continued representation of people of color, of goalkeepers just like you and me, and recognizing the role that your captain Tommy Smith played, the wider role that Colchester played, and how the game can continue to make social change in the most meaningful of ways. Thank you so much for not just the time, but everything you've done, continue to do, and who you continue to be.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me the platform to talk to you as well. I really appreciate it.
We've been united by divisive events. We must use this moment to continue to make progress. Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. Show Racism the Red Card's annual Wear Red Day will be taking place on the 22nd of October. Wear Red and raise money to fund anti-racism education across the UK. Together, we can make a difference. Text RED to 70470 to donate £1 and visit theredcard.org for more information.
Change hearts, change minds, change lives.